What's up, guys? Craig Mack here, Bell Beekeeper. So, it's been a little while, doing a lot of work this year, getting crazy busy, getting prepped for next year. Today I'm up on the roof pulling some honey supers and giving some bees some space and just checking things out, and wanted to take a look at my custom hive here. This appears to not have any bees left in it. It's had bees last year. They went through winter. I caught the swarm, which is these bees right here, which I just went through, and they're a little bit spicy, but they're doing really well, very healthy. And I did catch a couple of swarms out of this, but just want to kind of go through it and take a look now that I know there isn't a colony in here, because it's pretty interesting to see what goes on with these hives. Now you can see here all across the top, it's just loaded with propolis. They had that lid really glued down, and it's everywhere in here, in between the frames to the walls. Really propolized. But these hives were intended to not really be touched, and they really weren't much at all. I think I opened it twice last year, once a couple of weeks after the bees got in, another one for my inspection, and then after that they were left to their own to do what they were going to do. So now that there aren't any bees in it, I'm going to crack it open, clean it up a little bit, and take a look and see what we got in here. Now I know this at one point had some really wonky comb, and it was a real mess. Now I'm looking around to see if I have something here I can prop this up on. Maybe I can pull my cathedral hive over here. This doesn't have any bees in it either. I got this last year. Thought something might swarm into it, but never really gave it any attention. Just kind of left it to do what it was going to do. Let the wax moss clean it up, and this year I'll get it properly set up for bees. Well, next year, 2022. So these are a double deep frame. It's essentially three medium frames, as you can see. This one they actually built out really nicely. And this was at one point really jammed with bees. You see quite a few swarm cells there, or queen cells. There's one that was capped and abandoned, and a couple more that had hatched out. So I'm not quite sure why they left this. Don't really care all that much about that, but I was curious to see what it looked like inside, since it was really basically undisturbed for an entire year. Again, lots of propolis. Man, they really gummed this thing up, but you give them the opportunity and they will do that. Again, nice big beautiful frame. These are approximately 20, I think like 21 or 22 inches deep, and they're spread apart by these dowels. In retrospect, I probably would have made these square instead of using the dowels, but you see, they did a nice job drawing that comb out all the way across that. It's beautiful. Now a couple of these, they started to get really wonky last year, and I had opened it up the second time, I think, and I tried to clean it up, and they had at that point had the bottoms kind of all crossed up. But as you can see, these first three were damn near perfect. Just beautifully drawn frames. The last two, from what I remember, were the ones, these last two here that are still left in the box. They were the ones that were really kind of wonky, and cross-combed at the bottom, and I had some of this had broken off and fallen to the bottom. And okay, now we can see here at the bottom of these, they crossed these up, if you can see that down there. Not really crossed as much as like double comb built. I guess there was a little bit too much space at the bottom here, and they built a couple rows of wax where only one should have been. Take a Look at this frame. And yeah, you can see at the bottom of this, they started to come out a little bit. And this was drawn off of the last frame onto this frame. So I'm just going to pull this stuff off of there. Might even cut the bottom portion of this wax out and try to get it straightened back up, so that way this can act as a swarm trap next year. Maybe get some bees to move into it. These were really an experiment just to see how thick walls. Whoops. That's the roof. Got a little bit of a breeze up here today. It's been stormy and hot and humid, and today the temperatures broke and we're back down in the mid 80s. And just a nice breeze up here on the roof, as I usually get. There we go. That's probably locked in a little bit better. But this is the frame that they really had gotten a little crazy with. This was towards the end of the building, and they built this one onto the side and stuck it to the walls and everything else. So you'll see in a second. Frames, and you can see on this one they built wax on both sides of the frame, and they drew it kind of crooked down here at the bottom. And this was the only one that they really had done that with, which I was really surprised. I mean, I had waxed up, I waxed the dowels and did all that kind of stuff when I first built it. It does have a sheet of medium foundation in the top section to get them started straight, and surprisingly enough, they did a nice job of staying pretty straight, with the exception of this last frame, which was the outside frame, and they built it to the wall instead of the frame, or on both sides of this frame. So I'm just going to kind of straighten this out a little bit. Again, these things were never meant to be practical. They were meant to be inspected, because we do have regulations regarding inspections where your hives have to be inspectable, unlike a skep type hive. But again, you can see this is beautiful. See pollen all in here. Up here would be where they stored honey, and down into this darker brown comb would be where their brood chamber was. So now they have this out and open. We can take a look and see what they did inside this bad boy. So if you've ever been in the removal situation and done any trap outs or cutouts from a tree cavity, you'll see a lot of this type of stuff. Just a boatload of propolis. You see where they built wax onto the walls. They sealed all these corners. Goes for the train. And this hive has two circular 3/4 inch entrances on the front, and it has this complete slot across the bottom. And the bees seem to use they seemed to have used the bottom entrance more so than anything, although they did get into using the holes when the colony got big. Big enough to where they could facilitate using both of those entrances. And again, you know, this was meant to be basically just a swarm producer, as natural a hive as we could get, as I could make, you know, with minimal intervention and management. And the bees did really, really well, and they're still doing well. like I said, this is the colony that swarmed out of there. Being left alone and by themselves, they were they're a little spicy. They're a little spicy. They always have been. They've always been a little bit testy, but as you can see by what they did with these frames and with this box, they're very healthy bees. They did a nice job in the box. In this box, they're doing a great job in the 10-frame box setup. And we'll see if they continue on that path. So that was my custom hive inspection. Now that it doesn't have any bees in it, I'm going to go ahead and put these frames back in. Melt out some of the wax here that was drawn crooked. And leave it sit here, see what happens. It could end up being overtaken by moths or something. I would love to see bees move back into this at some point, but we'll see what happens. Hope you enjoyed that video. Be back with some more cutout work in next couple of weeks, and some more videos and honey and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Enjoy your day. Later.